Hey everyone, in this video we're touring a tiny house on wheels with a modern design and a unique floor plan. On one side is the living room with a small dining space. The kitchen and staircase are in the middle of the tiny house, and there's a fully equipped walk-through bathroom that leads to an easily accessible main floor bedroom. This tiny house is 35 feet long and 8.5 feet wide, and it's parked in Half Moon Bay, British Columbia. In this video, we're going to give you a full tour, so let's go check it out. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. We'll give you more information about them at the end, plus a link to a free trial. So you come into the tiny house through the sliding patio doors here, and on the left is the living room. There's a nice comfortable 3-seater couch that can also fold out into a bed. Across from the couch there's an ottoman with plenty of storage space inside for games and blankets and things like that. There's a TV mounted on the wall, which is nice for saving space because no furniture is needed to hold it up. And on top of that there's a nice live edge shelf. So the living room's a nice cozy space for hanging out and lounging, and the TV's just at the right spot to comfortably watch it from the couch. And it feels really spacious in this living room because there's no loft overhead, so you have a 13-foot ceiling height that really opens up this room. And above this window is the electric wall mount heat and air conditioning unit. So that's the main source of heat for the whole house, and also the ceiling fan helps recirculate the hot air throughout the entire tiny house. Over here is the small dining space with 2 adjustable height stools. And this table also has 2 brackets at the bottom that allow you to fold it down to create more space. What's also nice about having the brackets like that for the table is that there's no table legs. So it makes it much easier to store the stools underneath the table, and it's also more comfortable to sit around the table. This is also a great size because it's not really in the way when it is up. It's not much deeper than the kitchen counter, so it can be left up. If you have a project that you're working on, you can leave it there, not have to put it away. And the way it fits into the room, you can still walk past it to go to the living room and to the other end of the tiny house. So transforming furniture like this that has multiple purposes is great. It's nice to have the option, but it's nice also to not have to put them away. So moving into the kitchen here, it's all on one side of the tiny house. And the first thing you'll probably notice is these really huge oversized overhead cabinets that provide a ton of storage. And there's also plenty of storage underneath the counter. Over here there's a 5-burner stove and oven. And on top of the stove there's kind of a unique microwave. It's really wide and it has kind of a futuristic look to it, which is kind of neat. I should also mention that all the appliances, everything in this house is electric. There's no propane, so the tiny house is plugged onto the grid. Moving on, there's quite a large amount of counter space, and there's also a big double sink at the end. A lot of the newer tiny houses that we visit have kitchen counter space on both sides. And that's great if you're someone who cooks a ton and who actually needs all that kitchen space. But for me personally, this amount of kitchen counter space would be plenty. So having a smaller kitchen like this can open up a little bit more space in the other rooms of the tiny house. So you can have more space to play with in the design of your living room, bathroom, and bedroom. And you might end up with a more balanced space than if you have just a massive kitchen. Of course, it really depends who you are, what you do, what your priorities are, but that's definitely something to think about in the initial design of your tiny house. And another neat feature of this kitchen is that instead of having a backsplash, there's a large panoramic window right behind the counter. And I've never seen this before in a tiny house. It lets in a lot of light and it prevents this narrower spot of the tiny house from feeling like a dark hallway. And across from the sink is this built-in fridge and freezer. I don't think I've ever seen a fridge and freezer this big. It's gigantic. But although it's enormous, I like how it's recessed into the wall and it doesn't feel too big. And then beside the fridge and under the staircase is kind of this open concept storage closet. So there's a boot tray at the bottom, wall mount shoe storage, a small mirror, and some coat hooks. So now we're getting into the walk-through bathroom, which is almost as long as the kitchen. It's quite a luxury to have such a large bathroom in a tiny house. But the reason why this works is that it integrates what would usually be a hallway into the room. To close it off, there's a pocket door at either end. And what's nice is that when the bathroom is not in use, both of those doors can be opened up to create this really nice line of sight that goes from the main floor bedroom all the way to the living room. On one side, there's the toilet with a built-in storage cabinet on top. And then on the other side is the sink with some storage under it and also some storage behind the mirror. And this is a surprisingly large counter space and sink for a bathroom in a tiny house. They're often really, really miniature sinks with no countertop, so this is great. On this side is a full-size bathtub and shower with a sliding glass door. And it is pretty amazing to see a full-size bathtub like this fit into a tiny house. And again, I think that this fits because they're taking advantage of the hallway space. On this side is a stacked washer and dryer and floor-to-ceiling shelving. So there's plenty of space for towels, laundry soap, toiletries, and stuff like that. And now past the bathroom is the main floor bedroom. There's a queen-size bed with plenty of space to walk around all three sides. And there's these floating cube night tables on both sides of the bed, which is really functional. And because the bedroom is at the opposite end from the main source of heat, there's an extra baseboard heater in here. This is also nice, although we're under the loft, there's plenty of headroom. This is at least 7 feet tall. And at this side of the bedroom is a large closet. This is fantastic, but maybe that's one little detail I would change and make it accessible from the bathroom, just because it feels a little bit tight here to access. At the entrance here is where you access the loft. And this is kind of a combination between a staircase and a ladder. It has a nice handrail, the steps are pretty wide, and it's built at a comfortable angle for going up and down the stairs. There's an extra large loft up here. Right now they have 2 single beds set up, but it could easily be replaced with a queen size or a king size bed. And this closet here is where they store the electric water heater. I really like the outside aesthetic of the tiny house. There's a nice mix of wood and metal siding, which kind of gives it a modern, rustic, industrial look. And it's parked at an RV park with this great outdoor living space surrounding it. This tiny house design is simple, but it works. What I really like is that each space is well proportioned. There's just the right amount of space in each room to make it comfortable and functional. Overall, it just feels like a really comfortable 1-bedroom apartment, but with some of the advantages of a tiny house, like windows on all sides, the fact that it can be moved, and that it can also be parked in a beautiful location like this. As odd as it might sound, I think the bathroom is my favorite space in this tiny house. I love that it has absolutely everything necessary, and it follows one of the main tiny house design principles, which is that each space has to serve more than one purpose. The Half Moon Bay tiny house is parked on the Sunshine Coast in BC. If you want to check it out, we'll put the Airbnb link in the description below. We also want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes for beginners and pros. The first 1,000 people to use the link in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. They have classes on everything from small business creation to personal finance, interior design, video production, and a lot more. What I really like is that many of the classes are under 60 minutes, so it's not intimidating to get started and you can learn new skills pretty quickly. Right now I'm interested in a class called Learn How to Mix Music with Young Guru. I write and record the music for our videos on exploring alternatives, and a crucial part of music production is getting a good mix. I feel like there's definitely room for improvement in how I mix my songs, so I'm excited to take this class and learn some new skills. You can click the link in the description to get started. After the free trial, it costs less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. So Skillshare is a really affordable way to keep learning new skills. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.